I'm Scott Moore, and I'm a performance engineer. I help to make software and applications faster, better, more resilient. Lately, there's one thing on my mind.
Where's the best barbecue at, man?
So I'm going across the country, talking about performance engineering and barbecue. Join me as we take the performance tour.
Welcome to another episode of the Performance Tour. I'm back home in sunny Florida, but the world has changed. And since I can't actually get out like I used to on the road, let's go back to an unseen piece of footage back at the CMG Impact Conference because I want to introduce you to Akamas. And that's when I met Stefano, the CTO, and Luca, the other members of the team, and I was really impressed with what I saw. So I want you to watch that, and then we're going to see a demo of Alchemist right here. All right, I am here with Stefano of Akamas, and we're at the CMG Impact Conference. And why don't you tell us a little about yourself and your company?
Okay, sure. I'm Stefano Doni. I'm the co-founder and CTO of the company. So my background is on performance engineering. I basically doing performance and capacity work since the last 15 years. So we founded Akamas about 3 years ago. Akamas is a new breed of performance optimization company which is leveraging machine learning and AI to help global enterprise harness the true power of the IT stacks.
Okay, so we keep hearing this term AI ops from Gartner. And I hear AI. So you're using AI to help figure out performance issues, making them better, improving them over time. Is this real? Is this real AI? Is this AI ops in its truest sentence, or is there something else going on?
Yeah, AI ops, it's actually an overloaded term. So today it seems that you cannot really launch new products if there's no AI in it.
You have to.
Yeah, you have to. Actually, AI ops started as a way to actually predict failures, predict incident in production environments, and trying to explain what happened after a performance incident. So actually, it's really about maintaining availability and reducing the time to recover, basically. We have a little bit of different twist because we wanted to bring also the optimization into the picture. So actually, once you have understood today with the AI solution what you need to do, you need to decide the action, the changes on the infrastructure to improve it. With Akamas, we are actually bringing it to the next level because we are also automating the optimization of the infrastructure and of the applications.
Okay, so I want to make sure I repeat back what you just said. Akamas automates the optimization of your application. So that means if you have, say, a Java application, or maybe you're using Elasticsearch or something like that, you have something that will allow me to work with, say, a load testing tool, and
exactly.
You can begin to optimize that using your product that works with that, right?
Exactly. So today the complexity of the environment of the technology is huge. You have hundreds and hundreds of parameters that are actually interrelated. So we have billions of combinations, and we have seen in our experience that there are huge performance improvement potential, like each 4x performance improvements if you are able to properly exploit this kind of configuration. But the thing is, the technology is too complex, so even the experts are not anymore able to actually improve. And this is where AI actually come into the picture. So AI is the right way to actually analyze all the data that we have and understand where in this huge and complex space finds the optimization potentials.
Okay, so this sounds almost too good to be true to me. So let's say I have got a JVM, Java-based application. How many different combinations would you have typically in an app?
So I would say that there are 800 parameters for a single JVM, so it's huge, and also they are interrelated. So really, we are talking about really millions of combinations.
And you help figure out the best combination in the shortest amount of time, the minimal amount of resources, and so is there a way maybe we could see just a little bit of this? Can you show me a demo of this?
Sure.
Okay, so we're going to look at a demo right here at CMG Impact. Okay, so Stefano, why don't you show us a demo of
Sure.
this with a JVM?
Sure, so this is an example of a study. So an optimization that we have within Akamas where we wanted to minimize the footprint of a JVM application or a Java application into a Docker container. So as you can see, within Akamas we can express the goal, what do we want to optimize. So in this case we want to minimize the memory that is the footprint of the JVM, and then what are we tuning? So to Akamas we can express actually what are the parameters that we want to touch. So in this case, this is an example where we just touched 4 of the most common parameters that we have in the JVM, and 1 parameter related to the Docker container, the Kubernetes container. And you can see here which kind of result that we achieved. So we started from 3 gigabytes of RAM, which is the size of this container in the baseline configuration, so what the customer already had in place. And in the best configuration, Akamas was able to cut the memory by more than 80%. So actually those kind of application could fit within a container of just half a gig. And again, we did this kind of optimization while preserving application performance. So it's easy to reduce the amount of resources assigned to application, but you will lose performance, you will lose throughput. In this case, the performance and throughput are preserved.
So not only can it do this for, say, a regular Java application, but I notice here this is a Docker container. So can you also recommend the best configuration of memory, CPU, of how much to give a Docker container so that you're not wasting resources and you're using the optimal amount?
Exactly. So as you can see here, Akamas prints out the best configuration that it has found after a given number of experiments. So we have the baseline column, which is showing us initial value for the parameters. So for example, the Docker, the memory was set to 3 gigabytes in the initial configuration, and Akamas found a value which is about half gig. And this is a key use case in container environments. So how can I actually properly size my container in order not to waste money on the infrastructure, but at the same time, how can I preserve the application performance? And once you containerize a Java application into a container, lots of issues arise in terms of how to properly configure the JVM. So actually we can do this kind of multi-layer optimization where all the parameters are actually optimized at the same time to give you the best settings.
So you have a JVM inside of a container, inside of a physical host. It gets pretty complicated, doesn't it?
Exactly.
So this sounds really awesome, and you guys, I know your presentation was a hit because I was there at it. So congratulations, and we're going to be looking to hear more from Akamas in the near future. So thank you for being on the show.
Thank you, Scott.
Okay, let's take a look at Akamas at a high level, right? Not in depth, just to show you what we're talking about. This is the web-based GUI, and you'll notice there's not a whole lot of stuff here, but what's here actually counts. You have studies, you have systems, you have optimization packs, you have workflows, and you have telemetry providers. So all of these mean something, but what's important is that you just understand that the web-based GUI here, although it has a few settings and a few things that you can change, this is not where most of the work gets done. So I want you to understand that you're not going to see a whole lot of buttons and drop downs to perform various tasks. And the reason for that is because you're going to be dealing more with a command line interface to do the majority of the work, and you're going to be using configuration files, YAML files, defining information in there and having it run from the command line, and then you're going to see the output of that in this web-based GUI. I'll mention that the optimization packs are basically rules that the AI engine uses to tweak various types of technologies. So they already have an optimization pack for Docker, Java applications, Linux infrastructure, whether that's cloud, on-premise, doesn't matter. And there will be more optimization packs, and these will continue to get more and more mature as more projects are done, where more tuning has taken place and it has learned, right? So we're talking about AI and machine learning. So these will get better, and there may be partners or individuals that choose to make their own optimization packs as they learn rule sets and take these even further. Telemetry providers, you can think monitoring, right? So you have the open source Prometheus, but it also plays in the Neoload and Dynatrace ecosystem very, very well. So this is where you will see the output of the stuff that you're going to be doing in a command line interface. Now, for those of you who are used to doing everything within a web-based at the GUI level, you may struggle a little bit if you've never done that before. Those of you who are already using Docker Compose or Kubernetes and you're creating infrastructure as a service, you're using YAML files to create stuff, you're going to be very at home with this. So let's take a look at that, because the Alchemist documentation, very well written, and walks you through step by step everything that you need to know and do. It's all up on a Confluence space, and they take you through a quick start guide here that will show you how to not only install the CLI, but also run your first demo of it, all within about 20 to 30 minutes. And so all you have to do is be a little bit familiar with an IDE and a little bit familiar with running things in a terminal. So what I mean by that is you're going to see files. I'm using VS Code, but you could also use Atom or Eclipse, your favorite IDE, but you're going to see files much like this. And as I mentioned, if you've ever built out a Docker Compose, a YAML file, created any of that, it's the same thing. It's defining information here, and of course spacing and making sure that you have your your colons and different things in the right place. This is going to be really important. So if you're not as familiar with that, don't worry. It's not like these files have to be super big. In fact, if you look at some of the guide here, some of the files that they tell you to build are only like 2 or 3 lines long. So they take you step by step through logging into the web page, which could be something that Akamas hosts or you host on-prem. I mean, it could be Docker containers that are running Akamas actually, and it walks you through installing the first Java app as well as the CLI. Now look at this. If you're using Mac or Linux, it's 3 lines that you have to execute. If you're on Windows, it's 1. If you look at the first files that they want you to build, the first YAML files, it's not like these are long. It's 2 lines and you can begin utilizing them, and they show you the exact commands that they want you to run as they create it. I actually did that, and here's the terminal, my terminal, and I created a directory and created these files. And let's just take a look at one of the first ones that they tell you to create, system.yaml. It's 2 lines long. So if you can edit a file and save it, you are already on the right track. Once you've actually followed the instructions to install Akamas, just to make sure that you have it installed right, you just type in the right argument for the version and it tells you what you have installed. So as you begin running commands, this is the command line interface. Obviously you can get help and it will show you all the different commands that you have access to. In the instructions online, they will walk you through doing some of these commands to create things like create systems, create components, component types, parameters. And I'm really impressed with this. And I was so impressed with this that once you get comfortable running these, after you run this command, you would then go into the web-based GUI, and then you would see, if I wanted to create a new system, you would see a new system showing up here. So I don't have the time to go through all of that in this video, but I was mentioning that I was so impressed with these guys that we released this press release a few days ago. We're actually doing a formal partnership. And unlike the normal press releases, it was just more of an interview with Stefano, the CTO of Akamas, and myself as to what do we see in the industry regarding performance optimization and tuning, and where do we see the road ahead. And from all of the work that I've been doing with them since I interviewed them for the performance tour, we decided to make it official. So if you do have any questions about Akamas and you're in the US, I'm one of the first US partners and would love to take you through this and show this to you more. And you can reach me through my website, scottmoore.consulting, and I'm at help@scottmoore.consulting as well. So you can go to find out more about Akamas on their website, which is akamas.io. and you can find out more about their solutions there. But I wanted to give you this quick overview here on the Performance Tour just to show you first looks and show you, it's AI and machine learning doesn't have to necessarily be that difficult to initiate. Once you begin to set this up, it's going to kick off your load test. It can actually change the settings for you, or it can make recommendations for you to change, but it can actually do the whole process for you. Release it, let it run for a day, 2 days, 3 days, and let it find out the best configuration for your application. And this can give you the most bang for the buck on the cloud concerning, say, your AWS instances. How small can you bring down your instance and still get the same performance? And it does that by learning itself and using these rules in these optimization packs.
Well, I hope you liked the Akamas review, demo, and interview. I also want to mention that since the world has changed and I can't go out and go to restaurants as often as I used to, I wanted to make you aware that I didn't just start reviewing barbecue when I started the Performance Tour. Now, that's been going on for a long time. I've had a big problem with that. I actually found some ancient footage all the way back in 2006 when a friend of mine and myself took a similar tour, and we went through North Carolina, Tennessee, Alabama, and Texas, and we reviewed quite a few restaurants. Now, I'm not going to have all of them on here, but I know that we went to Bill Spoon's in North Carolina, Bridges Barbecue, and we actually went to the original Corky's Barbecue in Memphis. So I want you to see that review today.
Okay. All right, my review of Corky's. First of all, I've had Corky's before, but the one in Nashville. We wanted to go to Corky's, the original one that was based out of Memphis. These guys have been rated #1 for 20 years for Memphis Magazine. They've got all these pictures of presidents visiting them. They've got all these awards. We figured that we would try them today. This is not something that you can compare Memphis barbecue with any other barbecue like Kansas City or Carolina, for instance. The stuff that we've had up to now, this is a Memphis style, which means it's a sweet ketchup-based sauce. You're not really going to get a lot of mustard and vinegar stuff here. So what Mike and I decided to do was, there's two types of ribs you can order in Memphis: one dry, one with that has a sprinkling of their rub or their seasonings on it, and then there's another where they cook on the sauce and they keep it basted, which is the wet. So we each got a order of ribs. We split them in half and we sampled each one. They both came with baked beans and slaw. To my opinion, the only thing that I could ding Corky's about is they needed a little bit more smoke in their ribs, and they needed a lot less celery seed in the slaw. If the slaw had been a lot better, I probably would have given this place probably an 8.5 or higher. However, I'm giving them an 8. The service was great. The atmosphere was great. We had a really good waitress. She was really good. The food came out hot and right away, or as quickly as possible. Tea was great. It was probably about the right sweetness for sweet tea. We didn't try any of the desserts. I sampled Cynthia's pork on the baked potato, and it was good. Again, needed a little bit more smoke, but that's up for interpretation, and they're trying to make this available to everybody, the majority of people. So gets an 8 on my list, and those of you who know me know that that's probably one of the top ratings that we've given a place. Most of those Carolina places we've eaten at were about a 6, 6.5, a 7. But I think it comes down more personal preference for the Memphis style probably than anything.
On a final note, I just want to say thanks again for everybody who has supported the tour. And yes, the world has changed. And I can say though, we're safe here, and we hope that you're safe, and you can see everything's fine. And because I do a lot of work from home, it really hasn't affected my life that much at all. So thanks again, and we'll see you on the road. Okay, you got it? Okay, all right.
Okay, let's go back inside.